It is high time I do the tier list of the best synergies I expect to be contenders for Saturday's tournament, and I will not waste any more time, and I will immediately start ranking all these synergies right here. So the comp that I expect to be the strongest Saturday, I think that everybody expects it to be super strong, is probably Steelbug. So Steelbug is probably one of the top contenders. Is it tier 0? I think it's tier 0. I think nothing can beat Bug Steel right now. If it is well constructed, if it reaches its late game, if you can get both Volcarona and Genesect, then there is nothing in the game right now that beats this composition. It is absolutely stupid. To this, you add Ninjask, which is probably the most broken and most toxic Pokemon in the game right now, because the unit is practically immortal if you stuff it well. And all of these are super strong units that go into the same composition, and the said composition becomes super strong. There are a lot of steel legendaries and a lot of bug legendaries, so while playing these two synergies combined with each other, you can play a lot of units that cost you more than 4 golds, and these units are on average way stronger than any others. However, there are contenders that can try to snitch some games from this composition if the player isn't insanely lucky with his items. So what are these comp I expect to see strong? First of all, babies. I think that anybody knows by now that baby compositions have a super high ceiling and are not all that risky to play, to be fair. So I expect babies to be fairly strong. Also, Grass Flora. I've been spamming this comp. This is probably the comp that I will go by default on Saturday. I will play a lot of Grass Floral, and I expect it to work pretty well. On the ladder, it actually works super good. I can beat the best players with this comp, and without really playing all that risky. On average, I have very good results with this composition. Fire is probably also very good. It is difficult to estimate the power of fire because it is played by a wide variety of players. It's a super popular comp, and so both good and less good, you could even say sometimes bad players, spam these compositions, and so in the statistics it's always let's say the statistic does not reflect the real power of the compositions. I expect it to be quite stable and to be able to perform pretty well. And to this you add a fighting frontline. I think fighting is one of the best, if not the best, tank synergy right now. And just having 6 fighting mons on your front line, protecting whatever carries you can get, for example baby carries, is enough to build a super strong composition. And just like with bugs and steel, fighting has a lot of legendaries and epic units, which means that you can stack just 6 legendaries or epic fighting mons, have a super strong front lane, and then use your mythics or your hatched eggs to have a strong backline that deals the damage. You do not even need to have many synergies besides fighting. You could play 6 fighting, 8 fire, but you have to be lucky with your eggs. It is definitely possible though. These are probably the most stable comps right now. So in this category, I will put the compositions that can definitely win games and maybe top 100 tournaments, but are a little bit more risky to play, because I expect them to be less stable. Field with Elec or with Fire. These compositions has always been able to bring results, and a lot of experimented players have played it a lot and are able to play it very well. So we could see this comp win the tournament. I wouldn't be all that surprised, but it would require a lot more skill and a lot more luck to win with Field Elect right now than to win with Bug Steel or Grass Floral or Fighting Babies. What else is strong? I think that Water Aquatic can bring some super good results. Even if you do not play Water Aquatic, I would advise you to play Water 3 in the earlier rounds of the game to stabilize your economy. In that, I think that Water is probably the best early game comp to stabilize and increase your economy. But as a composition, I think it's in the risky category. What else? What else is good but risky? I'd say Flying. Flying. To be fair, I cannot really estimate the strength of Flying because I have never played it myself. All of these comp, I have at least tried them once or twice. Flying, I never tried because it's not my style at all. So I see it work, but I never see it top outside of Crabhammer's hands, and Crabhammer won't be participating, so I expect it not to perform really well. And then we have all these. Artificial is not all that strong by itself, but it technically accompanies the Genesect centric, so you could put Artificial tier 0, but it's mainly because of Bug Steel. So Artificial, I'll put it at I wouldn't try. You know, Artificial centric comps are not all that great. When you play Artificial centric comps that work, it's actually Bug Steel compositions that have Artificial as a support. I wouldn't try Normal either. I even put Normal in the weak compositions. I see it work way less now that the new portal system is out. It seems that getting your normal mythics is not as easy as before. At least it's way less stable than it was. I'll maybe put it in I wouldn't try. I wouldn't say normal is weak by any means. But it took a severe system nerf. The synergy itself wasn't nerfed, but its units were, and the new system, I think, nerfed it a lot more. Fairy is definitely weak. It needs a buff, and I expect it to get this buff soon. Ice, still weak. It's a good supportive synergy, but you shouldn't ever play it vertically. Even if I know there is technically a bot that plays vertical ice with insane odds and does quite well, but I do not think this is a really wise strategy. Ground, I wouldn't try ground, but I do not think it's hopeless. Psychic, I wouldn't try Psychic. Psychic can be a really top contender, however, it is more than risky. So I will put it lower. Monster is weak. I do not see a lot of monster composition work. Dragon, I wouldn't try. I know that Felosian has tried to make this composition work, and as a result he lost a ton of elo, so I expect it to not be all that efficient. Sound, I always say it, sound is pretty weak, and I maintain that sound is a weaker version of something like fire or aquatic. If I wanted to play around my spells, I would play aquatic. If I wanted to play around the AD gain, I would play fire. And this synergy is just an in-between that I do not find very efficient. Ghost, where is Ghost? Ghost is... I wouldn't try. Dark Ghost I wouldn't try. I know this composition can work, but right now it is not what it was before. Now that the defensive items are way stronger than they were, you can't just blast a composition away, and because you lack a lot of frontline with these synergies, it is really not all that great. Unless every enemy composition plays squishy, but I don't think it will be the case. Human is good. Human goes besides fire, but it's less efficient than fighting. So I would say playing human as a secondary synergy in a fire composition would be risky because you'd way rather play fighting units. It is not something I wouldn't try. I think fire humans can still work, but if I had to rate a full vertical human composition, it would be weak. What do I say about fossils? Fossils have always been strong when you are able to play them, but it's also always been a risky strategy. I think it's a top contender definitely, but the games where you can play fossils are pretty scarce. So I do not expect a fossil composition to win the finale. However, I would love to see it, and if it was able, I may even be the one playing it. Who knows? Rock is a supportive synergy right now. Having it in your team is always good, but the synergies that profit a lot from Rock are currently not all that good. So I wouldn't say Rock is weak, but I wouldn't try playing around it right now. And poison. Pure poison is risky, but it can definitely work. Poison is a top contender because it is mandatory in the grass floral comps, but by itself, I'd say poison is risky. You can make a vertical poison composition work. I've seen them played, I've seen them perform. However, there are way better composition right now. So if I have to rank tier 0 right here, these two synergies are tied to each other. I'd say Grass Flora is the second best comp in the game right now, followed by Fighting Baby. To be fair, those two could probably be interverted. I think that pretty equivalent. Fire is also a top contender, just a little bit weaker. Then I would place Field here, Water here. Water Aquatic are also tied together. You never play Aquatic without Water, and you pretty much never play Elec without Field, at least at the moment. Fossils, I think flying is better than poison. This is a supportive synergy, so it's difficult to place it really. What's the best out of all these tier 3 comps? I'd say Ground Rock over here, and then Psychic. And then normal. Maybe normal over Psychic. Maybe even normal over Rock Ground. Dragon Artificial, okay. What's the weakest synergy right now? It's probably Ice. I'd rank these like this. Okay. So if you want to know what to train before Saturday, I'd advise you to train Grass Floral because this composition isn't all that contested. I think that I may be one of the only top players that spam this comp right now. I do not see many other players try it. I know Obscurox has tried it against me and it didn't work that well for him, but Obscurox will probably be playing Bugsteel. Bugsteel is probably the comp that will be the most contested, so I wouldn't advise you to focus on this. And it will be nerfed to the ground right after the tournament, so it's not the best investment. I expect Grass Floral to remain quite stable, despite the probable nerf on grass. or fighting babies. Those two compositions are probably the best composition to try. If you're a beginner, do not try babies. Babies require some feeling of the game to be played efficiently. Instead, better try, I think, firefighting. Yeah, that's it. Do not get baited by all these compositions. They are probably playable, but not at the best level. And if you expect results, you should probably just stay with them. Yo, je finis juste un instant. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope it would help you to try to win Saturday. I'll be there to beat your ass anyway, so do not expect to win. Expect to be second at best. And have a great day. Goodbye, people, and see you the next time.